Do either of you monitor the Gaza Health Ministry?
I do not.
No.
No? So I think it's, decent to look at. It's what the lady that got pulled out was parroting when she said 10,000 civilians were killed. And it's not just what they were parroting in back there. It's literally what UNRWA parrots. And then when UNRWA parrots it, it's what Al Jazeera and New York Times and BBC and everybody else, it's what everybody else starts parroting. And I'm going to read to you directly from them what they want everybody to parrot. So accordingly to the Gaza Health Ministry, 9,770 people have been killed. This is in Gaza. 70% were women, children, older persons. 24,158 people injured. 2,260 reported missing. At one point, 521 families, 3,109 citizens, and they give very specific information. Do you notice anything glaringly missing from what I just mentioned to you from the Gaza Health Ministry report? Is there anything that strikes you as glaringly missing?
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're referring to.
Combatants. They didn't mention the word combatants.
No, because they mingle them.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. They expect the world to believe that all these people and these groups that they're dividing up to families and older persons and children, which they consider anybody under 18, and women, that none of them are combatants. That's what they want the world to believe, and that's what the United Nations goes out there and parrots, and that's what the media goes out there and parrots. So I want to get to a few of those points because it leads to a circle that's going on, and the circle is this. This shouldn't be provocative to anybody. Hamas lies. Hamas and Palestinians lie. It's their government. I've had a number of my colleagues that have agreed with me on Twitter that it's their government, even though they tried to censure me on this. But, and then they say they lie, but then they pretend everybody is a victim. And then after they say everybody's a victim, there's anti-Semitic riots and terrorism. And then after that happens, then there's people, members and others, that call for ceasefires in another country and things like this. So I want to ask a few questions on that. Are all combatants men in this war?
We're not on the ground and would not be in a position to confirm.
Do you think they're all men? You're in DOD, you monitored Iraq and Afghanistan. Are all combatants men?
Generally speaking, all combatants are not men.
Thank you. Are they all over the age of 18?
Broadly speaking, there are plenty of designated foreign terrorist organizations who use children in combat.
Are they all young adults or some of them are older adults?
Congressman, I'm not a lawyer.
Okay. Are they all in Gaza? Are all combatants Hamas?
No.
Are they only individuals that wear black hoods and green headbands?
Hamas, just like any terrorist organization,
Not just Hamas.
Other organizations like Palestinian Islamic Jihad also, I'm sure, don't only parade in the streets in identifiable uniforms.
That's right, and it's not just Hamas, like you just mentioned. Now, when I brought this up, which I think is very important to bring up, to identify who's innocent and not innocent, of which I absolutely acknowledge there are innocent people there, even though, again, that has been stripped from me from comments from my colleagues. When I brought that up, my colleague up here, who's missing now, probably conveniently, asked me if I was a member of the KKK. And one of my colleagues over here also tried to censure me for distinguishing between innocent and non-civilian and trying to actually look at who is and who isn't. And this is the big problem about that lie. That lie is actually worse than the Al-Ali hospital bombing lie that was told by Rashida Tlaib in the New York Times and the Associated Press, because that is a much more persistent lie that Hamas is begging, Palestinians are begging members of Congress to make. They're counting on the fact that people here won't try to distinguish that it's not just Hamas terrorists. It's also Palestinians. It's also women. It's also under 18. It's also older people. And when they do that, they get that circle of lies where they think everybody thinks over there they're a victim, and then they get the anti-Semitic riots and terrorism, and then they get the people calling for ceasefires and for making them a second state. And that's why that lie and these people unwilling to question that and yelling at me for questioning that are creating a much more persistent problem than even what Rashida Tlaib put out there.